Welcome to Le Podcast Philippe, and today we're going deep on AI in HR.
Ooh, sounds interesting.
Yeah, it is. We're actually looking at a French startup you might have heard of.
Okay.
HR Engine.
Okay, yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah, so we're going to be exploring their AI tool specifically designed for HR people and how it's basically changing the game when it comes to recruiting.
I mean, anything that makes recruitment easier sounds good to me.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll dig into how much time this thing could save recruiters and some of the, the big questions that pop up when you start bringing AI into hiring decisions.
Like some of the ethical things and all that.
Yeah, exactly. And just a quick reminder before we jump in, if you're digging these deep dives, it would be awesome if you could help us hit all 1,000 subscribers on YouTube today.
Yeah, definitely subscribe, everybody.
So HR Engine, they're a French startup valued at like 10 million euros. And they're saying their AI tool can save recruiters like 2 days of work.
2 days?
In the whole recruitment process.
Oh, wow. That's a huge chunk of time.
Yeah, and they're not just talking, they've already got clients in France and internationally.
Oh, wow. So they're actually doing this. This isn't just like a theoretical thing.
No, they're out there in the real world.
So how does it actually work? What's the core function of this AI?
So the really interesting part is how HR Engine's AI does these virtual job interviews.
Virtual job interviews?
Yeah, so like imagine an avatar
Okay.
asking candidates questions about their experience, all that.
An AI avatar.
Yeah, and the whole conversation gets transcribed like as it's happening.
Wow, that's really futuristic.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. So basically this AI, it goes through a ton of CVs, picks out the ones that match the skills you're looking for.
So it's doing the initial screening, basically.
Exactly. And then it does those first round virtual interviews. And from there, it gives the human recruiter a short list.
So it's like narrowing it down to the top candidates.
Yeah, like the cream of the crop.
So the human is still making the final decision.
Oh, absolutely. It's just doing all the heavy lifting beforehand.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And there's this example where the AI went through 200 CVs, interviewed about 50 people virtually.
Wow.
And then gave the recruiter just 3 candidates to look at.
That's incredible.
That's a massive time saver.
It is. And when you think about it, most recruiters, I know they're just drowning in applications.
Oh, yeah. It's a huge problem.
So this could really free them up to focus on the more, strategic stuff.
Exactly. So they can actually spend time getting to know those top candidates.
So it's not just about speed. It's about making the whole process more effective.
Exactly. Now, HR Engine says this tool could save around 2 days per recruitment process.
Which is what we said at the beginning.
Right. And they're also really emphasizing that their AI picks candidates based on what they can do, their skills.
Okay, so it's trying to avoid all those biases that can creep in?
Yeah, like gender, age, beliefs, all that stuff.
Right, because it's just focused on competencies, not, who someone is or where they come from.
Exactly. But, it's AI, right?
Right.
So how do we know it's not biased?
That's the big question, isn't it? I mean, even if HR Engine says they're focusing on skills and using all these clauses to limit demographic stuff.
Yeah.
The data that the AI learns from, that's crucial.
Right.
And experts are saying if that data is already skewed, then the AI, even with the best intentions, might still end up reflecting those biases.
It's like garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly.
So even with all these safeguards, it's not a foolproof system.
Not yet, anyway.
And then there's the whole thing about soft skills.
Right. How do you teach an AI to recognize those?
Exactly. Like how do you measure someone's motivation or whether they'd be a good fit for the company culture?
Things that you can't really quantify.
Yeah. And HR Engine, they admit their AI isn't great at evaluating that kind of stuff.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where human judgment really comes in.
Right, because we can pick up on those subtle cues, someone's enthusiasm or how well they communicate.
Their body language, all of that.
Exactly. And a lot of people say that human element is still essential. You can't just rely on an AI for the whole hiring process.
It's about finding the right balance, isn't it?
Yeah, and we also have to think about the candidates.
Oh, yeah. What's it like from their perspective?
Well, HR Engine says they get positive feedback.
Really?
Yeah, and they point out that their system actually gives more candidates a chance to interview.
How so?
Well, they say like a human recruiter might only pick 20 CVs out of 200 to interview.
Okay.
But their AI might interview like 50.
Oh, wow. So more people get a foot in the door.
Exactly. But then you have to wonder, is it a good experience for the candidate?
Right. Are they just talking to a screen? Are they feeling like they're actually being heard?
Exactly. And some experts are worried about that. They're saying candidates might feel like their application is just going into a black hole.
Like no one's really looking at it.
Yeah. And there's research showing that a lot of people just aren't comfortable with the idea of AI being the only one judging their application.
They want that human connection.
Yeah, they want to feel like they're talking to a real person who understands what they're all about.
Which makes sense. It's a big decision for them.
It is. It's their career we're talking about.
So it's interesting, where we have this technology that could make things so much faster and more efficient. But then we have these questions about bias and candidate experience and the role of human judgment.
It's a complex issue.
It is.
Yeah.
And as AI keeps getting more sophisticated,
Yeah.
it's going to be fascinating to see how this all plays out.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's a great place to wrap up this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining. And for everyone listening, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're pushing for 1,000 subscribers today.
Yeah, every subscriber counts.
All right, until next time, thanks for listening to Le Podcast Philippe.
Au revoir.